My life is an ever-swirling toilet that just won't flush.
In more than one way, December 6th could be called Night of the Derivatives, with the debut of both sci-fi's Happy and history's Knightfall. Or you could just shift focus a bit and just settle for some potentially pretty well-timed homages that have identified a void or two on the small screen and leaped in to fill them.
Hey, can you see me? Whoa, 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 yeah, you can see me!
What the hell?
I'm happy! The happy horse so full of fun, of course!
While there is a lot of the look, vibe, and even the soundtrack of Fight Club in the Christopher Meloni and Patton Oswalt semi-animated 8-episode Happy, there is not a lot of what I'd call joy. What there is in the surprisingly compelling rendition of Grant Morrison and Dark Robinson's 2012 comic miniseries of the same name from the team that brought us the distinctly jacked up Crank pics is Jerry Springer nightmares, Geraldine Ferrara shoutouts, a lot of drugs and booze and guns, a strong performance from Public Morals alum Lily Mirunjak as an NYPD homicide cop, and what can best be pinned as the dark matter inverse of Meloni's old straight-laced home of Law & Order SVU. All of which, in this tale of an assassin-for-hire ex-boy in blue, a bad Santa kidnapped young girl, and a poker-playing tiny-winged blue unicorn, which would be where Oswald's voice comes in, is a breath of fresh laughing gas air in what has been a pretty sterile and ponderous programming environment on sci-fi the past few years.
I'm an imaginary friend. I'm Haley's imaginary friend.
Come with me.
She's the sweetest little girl in the whole world.
Let me out!
And you're the only one that can help me save her.
Yeah, there's a fairly large serving of what often amounts to tiresome adolescent cynicism in Happy. But, and with a mind as sharp and creative as Morrison's, I don't think this conjecture is actually at all overreaching. There is also a lot of fun that spews out of the result of, say, putting Don DeLillo and South African hip-hop band Deanne Water in the blender, with heaps of the David Fincher flick, plus a bag of beanies and Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And with Morrison and Brian Taylor writing the opener and the finale, there's not a lot of holiday shiny-faced cheer, but there is a face full of laced eggnog that you might find refreshing.
We are Templars, we are warriors. We're supposed to fight for the Holy Land.
The Templars are an army, loyal not to France, but to the Pope.
Why do you always imagine conspiracies and plots?
I don't believe refreshing is the term one would easily apply to Knightfall, but familiar maybe. Starting with the loss of Jerusalem in 1291 and some parley with emissaries of the Sultan, history's Jeremy Renner co-produced series is very much in the vein of Vikings, which just saw its 5th season premiere on November 29th on History, with obviously a not altogether unwelcomed whiffs of Game of Thrones, which could work out for bemoaning fans waiting for the HBO blockbuster to return for its final season. There's swords, brotherhood, loyalty, and battle. A lot of battle. And with some holy grail protecting, a lot of slow motion effects, rousing soundtrack tunes, religious and political intrigue, and Downton Abbey's Jim Carter in fine form as Pope Boniface VIII, this tale of the Templar Knights is also quite Gladiator in many ways, as it takes you literally and sometimes quite stunningly inside the armor for the battles for the Holy Land and more. In that sense, once you get past some of the less than, let's say, biblical or epic scripts, and sometimes silly attempts at modernization, the pretty decent 10-episode Knightfall is a good example of the mid-range offerings of this peak TV era, or what I guess would once be called a B-movie that is seeking to punch upward amongst its bloodshed, oaths, and prayers.
Dear God, must I lose everyone I love for this quest?
And, as both Happy and Knightfall display in different ways, punching upward with some familiar moves can be a way to make an impact.